word about his witness. In fact, when I threw working and sit down on his pouch to finish the water, Judd talks a little more than usual. Only bond we got between us is dogs. But at least there's something. I decide to say something nice to Judd. Tell him how good looking his dogs are. Giving a compliment to Judd Travers is like filling a balloon with air. You can actually see his chest swell up. 40, 30, and 45, he says. When I tell about his names, those are their names now. What I paid for 'em, he says. If they had a little more meat on their bones, I figure they'll be the best looking hounds in the Tyler country, I tell him. Judd sits there, turn his beer around in his head. Maybe could use a bit more fat. I nurse my water along a little too. When you first get interested in hunting, I asked him. Your pa take you out when you was little? Judd spits. Didn't know a man could drink beer and chew tobacco at the same time, but Judd does. Once or twice, he says. Only nice thing about my dad. It's the first time in my life I ever felt anything like sorry for Judd Travers. If I weighted it on a postal scale, would hardly
move the needle at all, but I suppose there was a fraction of an ounce of story for him somewhere inside me. When I thought on all the things I'd done with my own dad and how Jude only could remember hunting, well, that was pretty pitiful for a lifetime. Thursday when I get there, Jude Meanses has got the best of him again because I can see he's running out of work for me to do. Just giving me work to make me sweat. Dig a ditch to dump his garbage in, he says. Hoe that confit again. Scrub that porch, weed that bean patch, but close on 5 o'clock. He seems to realize that I'm only going to be there one more time. I'd worked real hard that day, did anything he asked and done it better than he asked me to do. Well, one more day, Judd says, when I sit down at last with my water and him with his beer. What are you going to do with that dog once he's yours? Just play, I tell him, love him. We sit there side by side while the clouds change places, puff out, the wind blowing this way and that. I'm wondering how things would have turned out if it hadn't been for that deer. If I just knocked on Jude's front door 2 weeks ago and told him I wasn't giving Shiloh up, what would have happened there? To tell the truth, I think Ma's right. Jude would have sold him to me because of Shiloh's limb. Jude's that kind that doesn't like a dog, same as he doesn't want a dent or a scratch of any kind of his pickup truck. Makes him look bad. He thinks his truck's got to be perfect to make up for all the ways Jude's not. The last day I work for Jude, he inspects every job I do, finds fault in the least little thing, keeps pestering me, making me hang around, do my work over. When it's time to go, I say, well, I guess that's it then. Jude doesn't answer. Just stands in the doorway of his trailer looking at me, and then I get the feeling he's gonna tell me I can take the paper he signed and use it for kindling. Tell me, I can call the game warden if I want. There's not a trace of that deer left. The 2 weeks of work I put in for him was just long enough for rain to wash away the blood, for the field grass to spring back up again where the deer was shot. He still don't say anything though, so I start off for home chest tight. Just a minute, says Jude. I stop. He goes back inside the trailer. Me waiting there in the yard. When I'm going to say he tries that, what am I going to do? And then Jude's back in the doorway again. And he got something in his hand, comes down the step halfway. Here, he said, and it's a dog collar, an old collar, but better than the one Shiloh's got now. Might be a little bit, but he'll grow into it. I look at Jude and take the collar. I don't know how we done it, but somehow we learned to get along. Thanks a lot, I tell him. You got yourself a dog, he says, and goes inside again. Don't even look back. I get home that evening and Ma's baked a chocolate layer cake to celebrate a real cake, too. Not no Betty Crocker. After dinner, Ma and Dad on the porch. The four of us rose and on the grass together, damn Lynn, Becky, Shiloh, and me. Becky lives to give Shiloh her butterfly kiss, but he doesn't hold him long enough to reel her eyelashes back against him. Just got to lick everywhere on her face. And long after Becky and Darlene goes inside, I lay out there on my back in the grass, not caring about the dew. Shiloh against me crosswise, his paws on my chest. I look at the dark closing in, sky getting more and more purple, and I'm thinking how nothing is as simple as you guess. Not right or wrong, not you Travers, not even me or this dog. I got here, but the good part is I saved Shiloh and opened my eyes some. Now, that ain't bad for 11.